Featuring the passion project of Austria-born musician, composer, and all-around hip-hop head, Stephan Kondert, whose name puts the SK in SK Invitational. Today's episode is all about inspiration and collaboration, fusing a funky array of diverging musical influences from drum and bass and dancehall to straight-up jazz. SK is all set to unleash their big band's new big sound on another big night at B-Side. I am your host, Queen God Is, and it is about that time to catch the vibe. So let's get it, let's get it, let's go. Give it up for SK Invitational. So this is Stephan Kondert, or Steph as he likes to be called, and this is SK Invitational. And you started in 2006, and you hail from Central Europe with Austria.
Yep.
We have a lot of questions about that merged with this particular sound that you're doing. I would love for you to start, though, by introducing these gentlemen behind you and tell us where they're from.
Okay. And this is my man, Pete Kronreif, actually from Austria too. We went to school together.
Oh,
so
nice.
This is actually one of the, one of the founding members here. We got Andrew Gudauskas.
Hello.
New York, I guess, right? And
Brooklyn.
Yeah. Lee Hogan's, the one and only. I say Jersey right now, but I'm in Atlanta, right? See, I don't know all that. Andrew, Long Island, right? Andrew Gould on saxophone, I know that. Wisconsin, Ben Hoffman. But it says Nebraska, that's good one. He's trying to cheat.
Okay, well,
Yeah, cool.
SK Invitational, for those who don't know, is literally a big band. It was conceived to be a big band and to play variations of all the music that you love. And sometimes the band can get as large as 16 pieces, but I've even seen you conduct a 30-piece.
Yeah,
so tell us about that. And so we know that Pete, right? Pete is an original member.
Mm-hmm.
How did you meet these guys? How do they fit into the original band?
I mean, I moved to New York the first time in 2008, where I already linked up with musicians. Most of the connects right here is from the last 2 years.
Last 2 years,
yeah.
okay.
Different
So
situations.
are you cheating a little bit? Is like, what happens to the rest of the original members of SK? Are they at home looking at this, or going to watch this?
I'm waiting for cheap flights again.
Okay.
It's something, or maybe like the organic flying or something. So it don't hurt that. Flying around with 20 people, it might hurt not only the budget, also planet Earth, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So I keep my Europeans in Europe.
Okay.
Except Pete is chilling in New York, so we got him here, and guitar player Matt Pedals, Lusher is also in the band. He's in New York, so and all the.
So we got a little necessary segregation happening just for reasons of budget. What are outside of budget and not being able to travel with all, everybody who's included, what are the pluses and the minuses of doing this, working with a sound that does depend on desire, so many instrumentalists?
Yeah, actually, no, I didn't want to point out the budget, because it might be a thing, but as it is a big band, but in general, it's so, every musician in the band, even if it's 17 or 20 people, every player is forced to solo and put his own style into the music, and I try to leave as much space as possible for all the cats. Not only the beautiful features, also not the cats.
But what are the pros and the cons of doing this particular setup?
I mean, I guess you should rehearse more. If you always switch musicians, right? So that's definitely a pro.
Is it a drag to rehearse so much, or do you enjoy?
Yeah, and as soon as we play, I love it. As soon as we play, like printing out parts.
As soon as you get on stage and the check is signed, it feels good again. Tell me something else besides.
I think it's a lot about the organization. I guess like just getting everybody into one building, rehearsing a song or a new set is just difficult, and then so many horn shots. Let's say we got 20 tunes, 17 different parts. There's definitely going to be a couple of mistakes in the charts, and you're going to find. Cat's going to find them during rehearsal.
And what about personalities? Is it difficult to, like, when you want to include space for so many different voices to be included and for everybody to feel like this bright, beautiful smile, like he feels included? And a lot of bands are not like that. What about some of the personality clashes that happen when you're dealing with so many people?
Actually, I think I never had any.
Really?
I never had any clashes. I think, I've worked with a lot of different features, because the band is around since 11 years. We did a couple of things in Germany for major label artists. We had a couple of, it's TV right now, jerks. Right.
A couple of jerks, you can say that.
Cool.
You can say that.
So, but actually, also on stage, it was always cool, and it was maybe just, there's no place for too much ego, though. Everybody, even if it's all the features that are joining us today.
Well, music is magic. Humble. It's a universal language. It brings people together despite our differences and our backgrounds. And Austria happens to be one of the 12th richest country in the world. So really, you know, some of these issues are not really a thing for you.
I shouldn't have brought my fake gold chain.
No, you're in Brooklyn. You definitely should have brought the fake gold chain. Speaking of what we have to do when we're in Brooklyn, let's put you back to work. Let's go into song number 2, and this song is called All One. Give it up one more time for SK Invitational.
And it features Jonathan Hoard.
Oh, and we have a good news. We have our first collaborator who is living in Brooklyn currently, and if you know anything about the music scene, you know this person right here. And this is J Hoard, Jonathan Hoard, a.k.a. J Hoard Music. Joining us. Give it up.
And
Baritone Kenzie. And are we bringing somebody else?
Yep, we're going to bring all
and
up.
we just going to bring all of the Brooklyn collaborators. And originally hailing from the South Bronx, we got Mr. John Robinson. Give it up, SK Invitational and friends. Woo.
Ready?
Sketching words in the canvas of your mental. It's pure expression, we ain't worried about credentials. My life is music for real, I feel blessed for it. So hard to stay on path, always think forward. These timeless designs are intricate, written down, feelings from deep inside, genuine. Diversity shown in each poem, fresh aesthetics expanding the methods on how we've grown. Creation keep my soul in harmony, delivered to the listener, make them feel like an honoree. No apology for the real, that's the norm, and no desire whatsoever to conform, no. Free your mind from the bondage of industry, speak through the universe tremendously, travel far. We've been through the trenches, a few battle scars, it's all one, it's all one, yeah. What's that?
It's him, it's her, it's us,
all one. Yup, yeah, it's all one. It's all one. We paint pictures. Sketching's the imagination, is the equation. Precise in what he writes, it's no mistaking. Patient when we piecing together music we making. Art, life, living it right, it's the awakening. Pencil, stencil, send you wholesome like lentil. Music is forever even after all that we've been through. Experience the mystery, richness, history, valuable lessons, substantial amount of questions, no second guessing while crafting. Music that celebrate the golden era from back then. Beast of the bastards, splashed on canvas, walked away, it's all one. Yo, still to this day, it's like yes, yes.
Let's leave the past behind and just grow strong.
Grow strong.
It's time, it's fuel, let's just wait on.
Wait
it's
on.
More than high times and grow strong.
What's that?
It's him, it's her, it's us, all one.
Yup, it's all one. It's all one. SK Invitational. Vibes on the B-side. J Hoard, Baritone Kenzie, JR, y'all.
Let's leave the past behind and grow
What else?
Wait on. You for mankind, time grows strong.
For the people
It's
then.
him, it's her,
Yes,
us
it's all one.
I want you guys to stay up here. Stay up here really quickly. So this is SK Invitational and Friends, and one of the foundation of SK Invitational is that it's the birth child of this man here, but it really couldn't be what it is unless it was inclusive of so many different people to help make this sound.
Definitely.
Speaking of inclusion, fun fact, and I think I got this right, Austria became a part of the United Nations in 1955, I believe. But music is literally the original United Nations, bringing people, cultures, countries, nations, ideas together since the beginning of time. Let's break it down, how this happens, how this comes about. So you're in Austria as of 6 years. You've been, how many years have you been in New York?
I mean, the first time I came in 2008. Right now, and then was here for 2-3 years, and then I had
2 or
to
3 years in
travel,
New York,
so back
but born
2
in
to 3 years.
Austria.
True.
And then one day, how old were you? In college, you were a teenager. That you, more or less, más o menos, you decided that you wanted to scare their parents and tell them you wanted to do this full time and make this.
Yeah, I guess that's
thing.
a classic story. I guess,
That's a
right?
classic story.
My parents are pretty open though.
They are? Okay, well, shout out to your open Austrian parents. That's great.
Definitely.
You know, and you started to play instruments. What was the first instrument you played, and how did you go from that first instrument to all of this?
Okay, we're gonna start flute, harmonica, right?
Yeah. Okay. Really? The
Yeah, I
harmonica?
did it. I was
Wow.
choosing between drums and harmonica. No question, man. Gotta get harmonicas. No, it's way doper.
That was my first thought. Yeah. Okay. Shout
Out
out
of that,
to
got
that.
to piano, played that for a while, and started bass playing in between. And I think as a bass player, I feel like, you know, always being called as a sideman, I really had the urge to do something, and I started arranging.
Okay.
And that's when I studied arranging also in New Jersey at William Patterson University, with some of the, you know, Rich DeRosa, Cecil Bridgewater, and Margaret Miller, like all those.
So you actually
cats.
started writing music, like you started to make the arrangement. But wait, do you write the music?
Yeah.
Okay,
I write,
great.
you know, to do the
Okay,
arrangement
and so
for
then
it.
when did
I
it
would-
become a fusion of, or inspired by dancehall and jazz and hip hop and all of this funky stuff? Like when did it evolve to that?
I think my first House of Pain record I got with maybe 11 years or something like that.
11 years ago?
No, when I was 11.
Oh, when you were 11?
Yeah,
Okay, so
so-
cool. Let's start there. House of Pain. For anybody who does not know, Google search time.
Right.
Or Bing, or
I mean, this was definitely the
DuckDuckGo,
first
whatever
one.
you use. Search it, look it up, House of Pain. So then it started to quickly morph into being inspired at 11 years old, or you were inspired at 11 years old by hip hop. And then, so those influences started to sneak into the music.
Yeah.
Then we fast forward, this man right here, born in South Bronx, and who knows anything about the South Bronx as being the home of, or the birthplace of, hip-hop. All right, people, we get in there, okay? The birthplace of hip-hop, born in the birthplace of hip-hop. Just quick technical fact. One of the cons of a big band is that everybody don't got a mic because there are not enough to go around. So John, you're not actually mic'd for the interview, but I will translate. So John is born in the South Bronx, and then you've kind of been to so many different places with your hip hop career. And then tell me quickly, Baritone and J. Hoard, where you both are from.
Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, yes.
Columbus, Ohio.
And Columbus, Ohio. Good. So we start spreading out. You come to New York. When did you see them, and then what clicked and said, I need to connect with them in this way?
I mean, I was listening to John's music before.
Okay,
so
cool.
but I met you the first time in real, at least concert, right? And Lee was like, "Yo, Steph, you know."
Okay.
gotta
So
do
let
something with
me
John."
plug this information in there. It's first of all, it's hilarious that the MC is not mic'd for the interview. So that's a good balance. You need to talk for a living. You're good. You're fine. Over 15 years ago, John Robinson was part of what would be considered a underground staple in hip-hop music with a group called Science of Life, and his former name, Lil Cy. And so that was an influence for a lot of people who decided to do hip-hop. And so for our brother in the back, tell me your name. Lee, to kind of have seen John at a concert or somewhere, or heard his music somewhere before.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same as Stephan. I heard his music
Okay.
Way before I met him.
Okay,
When I
so
met him,
he's not mic'd. He heard his music way before he met him, and he was like, you got to check this guy out. And then we start to connect these dots. Here, that sounds good to you. And then so you kind of originally, did you end up seeing him perform first, or did you just send him an email and be like, I know about you, let's do this?
No, you know, first time we talked was actually I was fast, right? I was, you know, came to the concert, stoked, sat down with you.
And said yes.
At Blue Note, New York.
Okay, cool. It don't always happen like that in New York, but shout out when it does. And then we want to go into the next song, but really quickly, just tell us how we started to incorporate the beautiful vocals of Baritone and J Hoard into this sound.
So
You are mic'd, J Hoard, so
Oh, is he gonna tell us? Or is John?
who y'all pick one.
Oh, I'm gonna start. Baritone, the first. I mean, we know each other since I think it was a few years ago, 5 years, something. Yeah.
At an open mic.
Yeah, open
Okay.
mics, true, jamming it out.
Yes.
I guess that's where I meet a lot of people. And
Yes.
you know, Baritone was so cool, like inviting me for my first church gig too, and I forget this one. Yeah,
His first church gig,
Yeah,
so
which
sweet,
is
want to
dope.
pinch your cheeks. And J Hoard, who's from Columbus, Ohio, who's now living in Brooklyn, New York. You can't go to an open mic or anything that has music that is good and not actually hear or see J Hoard at some point. And so I envision that you saw him and was like, yes, and then that was just his magic. That was
True,
it.
but actually I think you might not even know it, but it was because you already did the song with Matt, Pedals Lusher, like they had a duo song. I think and you were at Rockwood or something, and I saw it, and and Matt was just talking about his music. I said, yeah, the music is cool, but who's that singer, man?
Who's this person?
Matt Pedals, the original guitar player.
The original guitar
yeah,
player from SK Invitational is not
he,
here.
He was
tonight.
already working with I was just, and I saw videos he sent me via phone, and I said, yo, shit, no.
All right. So I took extra time to do this, to try to break this down. You probably didn't follow all of that, but the point is, when you come to New York, and particularly Brooklyn, magic happens. And sometimes the magic is rough and uncomfortable, but a lot of times the magic is awesome, and it sounds beautiful, and this is an example of that. Give it up one more time for SK Invitational. We're going to do 2 songs back to back. We Don't Stop and Breakfast Politics. Thank you,
Perfect,
guys.
perfect.
Like Martians running all fours to lead towards the paradise. Celsius faring, disintegrating my dream to see better days. When I wake, I don't run away. Anyway, how you going? Come to the kid and talk politics for the matter. Bring up anybody that I never met. Makes sense. Every entrance is an exit. Hand me that cold leftovers for breakfast.
Miss me with fancy illusions. Cut it out. Shooting like bombs and fusing. Cut it out. Trying to trap me in the
sir. Be vampire with the brand new juicer and the well-to tutor. Tools is like you, UNICEF, but too direct. I take turns like pseudonyms. I prefer one out Googling. I got the Mickey D's fried for feeding my ball eagle got and through the eye of a needle.
Miss me with fancy illusions. Cut it out. Shooting like bombs and fusing. Cut it out. Choosing like bombs and fusing, cut it out. Trying to trap me in the morning. It's over easy, never run it. See with fancy illusions, cut it out. Shooting like bombs and fusing, cut it out. Trying to trap me in the morning. It's over easy, never run it. Breakfast politics. Breakfast politics. Breakfast politics. Breakfast politics.
just heard a feature from vocalist / MC Baritone Kenzie, who switched hats real quick on you. We just heard back-to-back 2 songs, We Don't Stop and Breakfast Politics, which is kind of an interesting statement, because if you live in 21st century America and you have any kind of social media, the minute you wake up, it starts. The politics start. You can't actually turn it off no matter how hard you try unless you're at a meditation retreat somewhere, which they do have those. Look it up because you might need it. Speaking of politics, after World War II, when the world was in intercultural shambles, no one would, maybe people wouldn't guess that they would fast forward some years and see this kind of thing happening in this way. Maybe for those who are optimists, but many people would, there were just so many things dividing, and there still are. When you got on stage for the first time with the big band, playing fusions of hip hop and soul and all the things that you do, how did the Austrian audience respond?
I mean, there's a reason why I moved to New York too, so, just to take it, and I feel the big band in general also, like, I always wanted to unite my friends, but what I realized is, that as soon as we step into a venue, there's a lot of positive vibes are being shared, and the audience is always so much part of the whole thing, that I think that SK Invitational concerts really affect people. I mean, John and Jonathan were because we released the album in February, and we're over. And I mean, you guys took it to another level too, because they were killing it over there. But people didn't really know, didn't really know that, how big band and how fluid and like alive. And that's why I'm also so. It's important for me that people are gonna hear some saxophone solos in between, or trumpet solos, or some drum parts, because they're gonna, they wanna feel the improvisational part of music, I guess, and the rhythm part, and it should be uniting a lot of people. I hate separation. Definitely happening in every city or everywhere, I guess.
Well, let's say the name of the album. So for those of you who are at home who want to look for it, it's called Golden Crown. Came out in February of 2017. And let's give actually another round of applause for the horn section on this. On the Golden Crown, you do have collaborators such as John Robinson, Jay Hoard, who are here, but then you also have some other hip-hop royalty, which would be M.O.P, Sadat X, Edo G of Edo G and the Bulldogs, correct? Yeah. And I think a few others. So
Baritone just killed Homeboy's verse on this one.
Oh, and okay, good. So I'm glad that you told me this. So Baritone, which first of all, I love your name, just got up here and did Homeboy Sandman's verse on that particular song, because he couldn't be here with us tonight. And so if anybody who has their ear to the streets of what is influential in hip-hop, all of these names will come up at some point. And so that's great of you to do that. Thank you so much. So hip-hop is very much about credibility in many ways. Authenticity, yes, sometimes. Always a question. But when you started making phone calls and you're like, Sadat X from Brand Nubians, if anybody know, okay, you have to Google this. This is, when I say hip-hop royalty, I mean literally the pioneers of any, like they were literally Wu-Tang before Wu-Tang, okay? So the grandfathers, the OGs of Wu-Tang. When you call these people on the phone, how readily are they to be like talking to the dude from Austria? How often do you hear yes, and how often do you like, nah, son, and hang up?
I'm doing it for 11 years, right? So I did a lot of collaborations back in Europe. I guess I learned the rules, and how, and I don't want to collaborate with anybody. Look, I feel like if there's already a connection, talking about M.O.P, we met up on a festival in Europe. They joined us on stage. I didn't ask them, like, because we played Anti-Up, one of their hits. Anti-Up, and
hip-hop anthem.
Yep, they loved it. They jumped up. All the other, as soon as they were on stage, all the other acts, and so this was actually. No,
it's really exciting for hip-hop to be merged with big band for a lot of reasons, because hip-hop is very much rooted in mixing and sampling music, especially from records. So it became digitized very quickly. So when you can fuse the two, it's really a big deal. Also, because of budget reasons, it's not always easy unless you're the Roots crew and some others who've been blessed to do this. But let's talk about the reverse part of it. So we understand that you're able to kind of solidify your sound by having relationships with some of the best of the hip hop scene. But one thing I know as an artist, a lot of artists who have kind of run a good road in their career in the States, they kind of get a second and a third win once they go to Europe and overseas. And it's for two reasons, or maybe multiple, but let's start with two. The first reason is because a lot of places overseas get music a little bit later, and so it's still kind of new to them by the time you make it over there. And then, despite all of the craziness that we have seen in the world, especially from Europe, let's keep it real, Europe is not so nice all the time, but there's something that European audiences have a remarkable way of showing the most authentic interest and support for American music.
They love it. Yeah.
They love it, especially contemporary urban pop music.
True.
It's tricky. Sometimes it looks like gentrification in the music scene, but sometimes it looks like really what's possible in the world. How do you keep authenticity in your process?
I don't think about that.
You don't think about it?
No, I'm when I write music, I try to go, really deep. When I did a couple of, and I'm talking about the beats right now, because like I'm not good in writing lyrics. This all their work, and melodies. I was just thinking about when I compose, I really try to, dig deep and I guess, whatever you've been listening to, and it was from hip hop. My mom, made sure I got to hear classical music as well. So I guess it's all different kinds of influences that come together if I don't think too much. If I think, interesting stuff is coming out as well. So I don't even. There's no technical.
So it's a balance.
It's a balance, I guess. Yeah.
Thinking and being thoughtful, but not overthinking.
And if it's real, and if it has something honest that comes out of you. Yeah. I guess.
Okay, so repeat after me, because I do believe that Brooklyn invented this term. Keep it real.
Keep it real.
So we just keep it real, and everybody sit down.
But this is the thing about talking, being on stage, and some artists say like you're on stage and you show, the songs that you wrote, I mean, even more intense if you do the lyrics and everything, people recognize if it's real or somebody else just sold it, or you bought it from somebody.
If the heart is in it, and the realness which comes from the heart inevitably is in it, then there really is not too many questions. Finish the statement. Or two statements. Austria is, and then Brooklyn is, and then finish both of those. So Austria is?
Home.
Home.
Brooklyn is home too, I guess.
Brooklyn is home too?
That's the good thing. I feel home.
You feel at home here?
Definitely.
What's the number one thing in Brooklyn that makes you feel at home?
I like my rooftop and my own apartment.
Let me tell you something. If you got a rooftop in Brooklyn and it's not by accident, I'm glad you feel at home. We need to make some phone calls. All right. Brooklyn does have a way of sometimes of making people feel at home who kind of come here, and then the people who've been here the whole time just be like, man.
Yeah.
But I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad somebody got the rooftop in Brooklyn. We're going to talk about that later. And let's let's go into this next song. This next song is called Turns.
Ooh. Jonathan Horst.
Yes.
Let's do it. Yeah.
J Hoard, SK Invitational. Give it up one more time.
Destination fell through improvisation. Detours leading to deeper understanding. Dead ends rehearse, yeah, to cancel out deception. Hills and valleys to climb to a perception. they may not be right. It's all about the truth you make, though they started as lies. It's all about the love you gave in the span of your life. Don't forget loss and mistakes, cause it leads to life. Evolution brings solution. Prepare to defend your conclusion. Focus on the present treasure, so the future ceases pressure. Not defined by gain or failure. Knowing time makes it better. Yeah. And persistence heals every pain that you feel. Cause it's all about the turns you make, though they may not be right. It's all about the truth you make, though it starts as lies. Yeah. All about the love you gave in the span of your life. Don't forsake loss and mistakes, cause it leads to lie. Yeah. All about the love you made. All about the love. It's all lies, all about the turns you make. All about the love in your life. It's these two lines, all about the turns you make, though they may not be right. Oh, it's all about the truth you make, though it starts out as lies. It's all about the love you gave in the span of your life. Don't forsake loss and mistakes, cause it leads to lies. Yeah. All these lies, yeah. All these lies, yeah. It all is lied. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
SK Invitational featuring Jonathan Hoard. Jonathan, we're gonna dig in a little bit on you. The first time I actually saw you, heard you, was a year ago at an open mic at Arlene's Grocery in the city called The Lesson, which is coincidentally also happening tonight. So for those of you who are watching live at home and you're so inspired that you want to do something after this, you can hop on the train or in your car if you are lucky and go on up to the city and check out this open mic in which you will be rocking again. So, and then I saw you again perform with another big band, or it's actually orchestra, Little Kruta. Yeah. And now here in Brooklyn. You are such an interesting story for a lot of you, at least what I'm learning. You're from Ohio, you live here in Brooklyn now. You're the epitome of the journey of what being a musician is, how like you can have a Grammy, which you do have. Yes. This man has a Grammy for his contribution to a song by Chance the Rapper, who is also phenomenal. I'm so sad that he wasn't born in Brooklyn. And still all of it, figure out how we're going to pay that rent and what we're going to eat for that day and how we're going to get on the train or all this stuff.
I walked to
yeah, he walked here today. You should have walked with your Grammy. And just been like, I don't care what this looks like because I still got this, which is the highest award for many musicians. Some people have their eyes set on a higher prize, which is a kind of a more spiritual goal in this, right? But some people really got their eyes set on that Golden Grammy, and that's it. And to have to be in the middle of both of those worlds was like, you've achieved this and you are obviously talented, and then you still got to fight and struggle and figure out what's next. Tell us really quickly, how do you balance that? How do you find balance with that and making a living as an artist, jumping around from open mic to open mic? What is this like for you?
Two things real quick.
Yeah.
Me and Baritone wrote on that.
So Baritone.
Baritone and I, we went to the Grammys together.
Oh.
We didn't travel together, but we were there together, and yeah, we did that session together.
You should just come on up. Come on up.
Right, this is cute. Yeah, because she's like
look
the
at you again.
epitome of the home person that makes it happen.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so
So what you're gonna need to do is you talk into this,
Yes.
and we'll hear you a little bit, and then you're fine, Jay.
so like I don't know, I want to get too emotional real quick, so I'll make it really quick. Getting here, you go to the drums, you pray that somebody lets you sing, you pray that it's not too late, you pray that someone's in the audience that has a gig for you that they can see you on. And I came here after like a few years after school in Boston, and so I
went
waited.
to Berkeley School of Music.
Yes, so I waited, and I felt like that was a way of me honing in on what I wanted, and I traveled to New York on and off. And so by the time I got here, I made some connections from the jams that I'd gone to. So when I moved here, it was not so much easier, but it was easier than just getting here and like trying to catch the F train, not knowing where I'm going and not knowing anybody, you know what I'm saying, and getting off of XX and just going to the lesson, whereas, developing some type of rapport with people. So that's one thing. As far as like, now, I think for me, to clarify, we don't have a trophy. We lost the award for the trophy. When you hear Best Blank Song, that's the Songwriters Award. When you have Best Blank Performance, that's the Performers Award. Okay. So he won
for the performance.
We lost the Hotline Bling. Drake wasn't even there. He wasn't even here. But we have 2 certificates that we are,
Certificates, okay.
Yes, ma'am. And you still have to like apply for those certificates. You still have to pay for those certificates.
Wow.
Yeah, girl, you got to pay for the trophy too.
Oh,
Whole nother story.
Scoop.
Whole nother story. But
okay.
Being at this place now, I'm wrapping up a residency on Tuesdays, and like I wanted to make sure that the residency was focused on giving back to people.
Yes, it's called the Tuesday Night Mass.
Yes, on Tuesday Mass, and I just wanted to make sure I gave back to people, because like that's what I find is the biggest thing here,
Yeah.
Like I was
but
able
as
to go.
musicians who are jumping and playing and contributing, to hear you say the goal is to give back to people, which is beautiful, and I think that resonates with kind of what we're hearing you say here. How do you make sure you have something to give? What fills you?
And that's what's scary. That's why I was like, I don't want to
That's the
get too
question.
emotional.
Okay, no,
Because
well,
it's really weird. This is very
Thug tears.
beautiful.
This is Brooklyn. You can do some thug tears.
Got some thug tears. It's a very interesting, that song Turns was written when I was my most poor, when I was my most like, I'm about to leave the city.
Yes.
And then last year, we'll start out this year, I'm performing it in Austria, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With JR. So I'm like, I'm lit.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not leaving New York.
Right.
But then
Okay,
like,
I'ma stay.
you come back and you get into these meetings and you're like, so I want to, be signed as a publisher. And they're like, but how many blah, blah, blahs have you written? And no offense to the white people who are watching or in this audience, but it's annoying, as you were talking about, when when I literally know about 3 people who are not of color, who have nothing.
Yes.
Who aren't the face of any scene, not gospel, not even a living room.
But their talent.
But
is
their
undeniable.
parents know such and
I got
such,
you.
or their money has enough money to promote, and
get
so
that.
they get these opportunities. And
Right.
so when I go into these rooms, recently it has been a mind. I don't want to use that word,
you.
but y'all know what it is. It's
Got
been
you.
it's a lot of mental. What is that word? Resilience.
Yes.
You got to be resilient, and like I can't like curse anybody out, because the thing about these meetings is that somebody is probably still going to watch what you do.
Absolutely,
They're going to
always.
watch where you go. They're going to watch what you release, so you can't get what is that, discouraged. So that's where I am now, and I'm focusing all of my energy, even my friendships, on people that want to be around me.
Amen. I'm gonna hold that.
Everything. is like,
first of all, thank you.
Do you want me?
You couldn't have said it better than me,
Sorry.
and I try to find ways to say it every episode that I'm on. And I think it's okay for white people to get their feelings hurt sometimes. The ones who need to shift, the people in the world who are holding certain cards that, you know, they may not necessarily need to be holding, so that we can have a more balance. Because at the global level, we all fight for these things when it affects us, but we sometimes don't realize that we do things that affect other people too. And when it comes to music and soul that people put in their heart into, we can't play games. Jay, I want you to pop up.
Can I interject this as he comes up?
Yeah,
JR,
really quickly.
we on the stage, that was in January. Y'all know Austria was facing a very awful presidential candidate, and that person didn't win, thank God. And we have who we have here. And so JR made that connection between the two. And you know, it was a very profound moment at that stage on Porgy and Bess, because it's like, although we're literally two different countries, two different skin colors, two different languages, we were both, as countries, afraid of an evil person or a person with evil intent getting in office, you know? Yeah.
You heard it here first. We have Jay Hoard, we have the beautiful baritone and powerful baritone Kenzie, and we have the OG John Robinson, and this is Stephan Kondert, SK of SK Invitational, with all of these wonderful musicians, some of whom have traveled a long way to be here, and to kind of get right what our countries have not been getting right. And if we need a lesson on how to get it right, maybe they need to tune in. So thank you for kind of dropping those jewels for us. We always get to this point where there's not enough time, but there's millions of questions. Go to YouTube, learn more, talk to them after the show. For those of you who weren't quite sure if Austria could hang with BK, looks like SK Invitational wants to invite you to think again. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We look forward to hearing what will inspire you and who you're gonna work with next. Special shout out to all of the New York and Brooklyn-based artists who have already joined you for the journey. And if you can't make it overseas just yet, I can't wait to hear more SK and B-Side, that is. You can check out this and past episodes on BRIC TV's YouTube channel using the hashtag BSideBK. You can also listen to B-Side podcasts on our SoundCloud station at soundcloud.com/BSidePodcast. And guess what? I am your host, Queen God Is, and the weather is finally warming up. But the truth is, when it comes to music and inspiration, Brooklyn always got that heat. Yes, we love y'all. Till next time.
Yeah. Stay golden, golden. Without shattered glass, feels like rain falling over me. Maybe golden crowns will become protection. What's shattered glass feels like rain falling over me. Maybe golden crowns will become protection. Yeah, first you must understand the journey. All of them negative vibes, none of that concern we. Nah, in the beginning like Genesis, had to make a tremendous switch. Truly embrace my gift, new desire, plan, build an empire. Organically, piece by piece, it's in the stars' eye. Feel a fire and the passion outlasting. Trendies and divides that you used to. Blasting through the speaker, massively reached the people in the way you never seen what. Ethers dripping through acoustic, you feel more like a movement. The big band sound fluid, the music's more exclusive. Do it, hypertone, microphone, put me in the sonic zone. Inspired me to write these poems, even when the sky's not glowing. Still shining so golden through the shattered glass. Divine protection at last, written in paragraph. Faster than the speed of light, now there be no sleep tonight. Play beats and rights, keep the vibes tight, out of sight. Right, right. Shattered glass, what? Feels like rain falling over me. It's over me. Maybe golden crowns will become keep protection. It golden, golden.
Shattered glass feels like rain falling over me.
Over me.
Maybe golden crowns.
We
will
break it down like
become
music
protection.
equal life, life equal music, prove it, yeah. Taking you to heights, tip-top flows of today, rare. Abstract design in his prime, he's so far away, yeah. Sun flies high in the sky, it's so far away, it's near. Bright lights could be blinding, to be paid in full you must be criminal-minded, that's a misconception. The resurrection of perspective leave the people breathless. I channel life for each thought, I never make my exit. Came to this year in the year of the dragon. Of course he knows what's happened, of course the flows of magic so tragic. Place of expiration on the coach's destination. I channel life with each thought and funk so vibration. Awaken them over orchestral arrangement gems. And stages so intense, man, it don't make no sense. Yeah, yo, you're Billy Day and all. Atlanta gift is flip, graffiti's playing balls. So inspirational, invitational, sensational. Pacing you with truth to make you raise the roof. Poof, like disappear, you see it crystal clear. You can't stop the progress now, we everywhere. Shed a tear for the love of the sound. Vow to always keep the style profound, profound. What? Shed a tear for the love of the sound. Vow to always keep the sound profound. Yeah, we came golden, golden.
Shattered glass feels like rain falling over me.
It's over me.
Maybe golden crowns will become protection.
Ba-da, ba-da-da. Ba-da, 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 SK Invitational, Jonathan Hoard,
J.R. Robinson, Stephan Kondert,
yes,
Baritone Kenzie.
keep it golden.